What's up, AfterBuzzers? You're here with us at AfterBuzz, and it's season 2 of the Shy Baby Eruptions, the season premiere, and it starts off with a bang. Everybody that is still alive is back, and they're doing big things, so stay tuned. That's coming up for you next.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, you guys? This season is back in full force. I'm your host, Erika Edwards, and I couldn't do it without my other co-hosts here, these beautiful ladies today. Please introduce yourselves to my left.
Hi, I'm Lauren.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kittie Kaboom.
All right, you guys. So overall, what are your thoughts? Take it from the top, the whole episode, season premiere, coming back. What do you guys think?
Wow. It was a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I was watching it, and it was so many, especially the ends that had some really unexpected turns. And I was just like, flashbacks, you know, I feel like we're going to dig deeper into some character stories this season.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great episode.
I thought it was a great episode as well. I'm just so glad it's finally back. I was like, fiending. I couldn't wait for it to come back. So yeah, the flashback I thought was a really interesting twist to show some background with Ronald and stuff. And I like how they're fleshing out all the characters and kind of giving them some meat so we really know like from whence they come.
I agree. I think this episode came out hard, and I like that a lot. I think there was a good balance between the violence and then the kind of comedy that the kids and lightness that the kids bring to the show. I actually am originally from Chicago. I grew up in Chicago. So I will also say that it does, since they have a new showrunner, it does have more of an authentic Chicago feel. And you can tell that she really knows the city. Because I know like last season, the opening montage was sort of like views from the west side, which was weird because they were on the south side. So they straightened that up and they got some Harold's Chicken in the house, which I actually love Harold's Chicken, so I'm a fan. So yeah, I do feel like the show is getting a little bit more real and, maybe a little bit more black. I don't know, but very real and very authentic. So I'm loving it. So we start off the opening scene. Brandon is like getting his hustle on.
Right.
Oh my
getting
gosh.
his
Poor Brandon.
Getting his getting his slinging them tacos, and then,
I just feel like he can't catch a break. You know what I mean? It's one thing after another with him, but I will say this, at least he doesn't sit around and mope and cry. You know what I mean? There are a lot of men and women who get their little feelings knocked down, and his brother just died, not just, but still, you're gonna mourn that forever. And now his mama done disappeared. Everybody's all over the place in Ronald's life except his girl. So that's nice that she adds that stability, but it's always interesting to see that something's always happening to him. It's like, how's he gonna recover from this one?
Right.
Well, you know what I thought was weird? Why did he leave a bag full of money under a seat? Like, and before he got robbed, it looked like he was gonna walk away and leave it in the truck anyways. I'm like, what are you doing?
Okay, now, in his defense,
was trying to play it
I'm
off.
not sure if I'm thinking since Jerrika said her parents had a real estate broker company in Hyde Park, that actually is a pretty decent area.
Oh, yeah, Hyde Park is nice.
Hyde Park is nice, depending on how close they are to University of Chicago. So I'm not really clear if they're at Hyde Park or the North Side or whatever. So maybe he's thinking it's more safe. But that was kind of, I think to me, some of the issues I do have with the show is the writing is a bit too on the nose. So, it's like, it was an interesting opening thing for him to get robbed, but not that surprising. So I can see where he kind of thought it was a setup. So what do you guys think about him and Jerrika? Look like they back in the swing of it.
I'm so glad to see them back together. I like them as a couple. I think she's perfect for him. She really helps balance him out because he kind of needs that, to find some balance coming from his home life, which is always chaotic and crazy. Yeah, I love them together.
Yeah, I really like how she supports him and she motivates him. I feel like she could have been a little bit more supportive when she was like, now you can go get another regular job to bring in a little money, which she does need to bring in some money, but don't just give up on the truck because you didn't have insurance for it, which I thought was another crazy thing. But like you said, he couldn't afford it and all the bills.
He got a lot on his plate.
It's just kind of like you said, he can't catch a break. But she does love him and she cares about him, so I like that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I love that she's supportive. Don't get me wrong. I'm not clear. To me, it was the most realistic to me. So I feel like I need to see more of their actual background of the relationship, because they have from season 1 to season 2. You know, they have had kind of like a squeaky clean relationship, and then all of a sudden she finds a gun and he's out. And that happened the first season, which I get what she's saying, but I feel like I need a clearer, for me, a little bit deeper into their relationship. They're so good.
Yeah.
It's almost too good.
I kind of like the
actually.
writing in that respect, though, how they do a little bit of put you in the middle of something and then come back, almost like they're giving the backstory with Ronald now, kind of fleshing him out, and we have more of an understanding of where he come from, his motivation, and why he does what he did.
Exactly.
Right?
I agree with you, but I kind of also see what you're saying, Lauren, because to me, I mean, clearly he moved in with her. She's almost has been supporting him really since we've seen
From
them
day
together
one.
on the
Yeah,
show.
she has.
And he's been living there, and then she gave him so much money for the truck. And I get it that he had a lot of other bills, but at some point, you know, he prioritized paying her back over insurance. So there were a few things where it was like, okay, I get your pride stuff, and it's but
That's what I
it's
was
like
gonna say, pride.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
a
an
man's
ego.
not gonna want to owe his girlfriend, his mama, no female anything. You know,
So now, what do you guys think was his real motivation behind not going to the police? I feel like he thought it was Reggie, and he didn't want to get Reggie mixed up in anything. But what were your thoughts?
That's a good point, because since you said that, she asked, "Do you think it's someone you know?" And he kind of stopped and thought about it, and I feel like that was the first person who came to his mind. And he even went to Reggie later and was like, "You set me up."
Definitely. I thought the whole time that he thought it was Reggie. I didn't really think it was Reggie myself, but
Yeah, I
I was
didn't
like, I assume he did, because the way the person kind of came up to him and kind of knew what was going on.
It did feel like a setup. It definitely did, but I didn't think of Reggie initially, and I guess that's what the pause, right? That he, and that's a very good point. I hadn't thought of that. I thought that the reason that he can go to the police is just because of the whole street code.
I do
and
agree.
You don't
I
snitch.
thought that's kind of how they played it, but I was like, really? If he really thinks it's Reggie, that's why he's not going. And
Right, he don't want no problems.
Exactly, because he doesn't have unclean hands in a situation with Reggie anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's messy.
I kind of was leaning towards that.
Yeah.
But, you know, so it's really interesting, because then Jerrika also tells him about the trial date being set.
Right.
So we kind of get a little, and I will say this, no matter how their relationship goes, you know, even if it's a little bit surfacey to me, I do feel that her support during his brother's death and how he's dealing with the trial and stuff is really authentic and really well written.
Yes, I feel like now, but at first, like you said, she wanted to kick him out because she found a gun. Now, obviously, I've never been in that situation, so I can't say what I would have done, but maybe try to be a little more understanding. Like, you found out who murdered your brother. Of course you want to go get revenge, you know? Not everyone thinks clearly when they know who just killed a family member.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was a little bit much. But see, she's just cut from a different cloth.
She is.
So for her to have no patience with it, I kind of understood it, because in her mind, I think she thought it's a slippery slope. If I let him get down with this, then who knows what, you know what I mean? Anything can happen.
I see what you're saying, but I really kind of went more towards the writing. I was like, this doesn't seem that real. Because to me, I'm like, if he's been Mr. Perfect and he's this great chef and stuff, this one thing is not going to be boom, it's over, and you have this deep connection.
Right.
So to me, I feel like, if we're honest, it's probably other little things he has done along the way, and then the gun was kind of the last thing. So I did feel like it was sort of an exaggerated moment right there to get him out the house and get him back at home with his mother. So, but I love her new haircut.
Yes.
It is cute.
It is adorable.
Yes,
It's
for the
adorable.
natural.
Yes, indeed, she rocks it.
Yes, it's very cute. And so I do feel like I can see the changes that they've made in the show, because it seems like even from the beginning, it's coming with a more real, authentic, a little bit, to me, more authentic than it was last season. So I'm really enjoying that. Okay, let's talk about Ronnie and Ethel, because I have some different appearances on this. So what do you guys feel about Ronnie and the prison thing, and the flashbacks? How are you feeling about that?
I feel like a broken record here with the fleshed out, but that's what they're doing. I like that they're giving him a backstory and that we have a better understanding a little bit about who he is and what motivates him to make the choices that he makes.
Right.
Well,
Or you're saying like the content?
No, both. I'm just
Okay.
asking what you think.
Yeah.
yeah, well,
Because I was about to say, I don't agree, so go ahead.
Well, if you guys notice, it did kind of give us a little leeway into how he's going to meet Jacob's mom.
Right, yeah. That part I
that was
important.
I did like
Jacob.
Jacob. Yeah.
Jason.
But Jason.
Thank you.
But
No worries.
I guess I do like they're giving him a story, but at the same time, the whole prison scenario and stuff, how he's just, got it so easy in there.
Right.
And, he's trying to convince that guy I have it so much better in here than out there. And then at the end, you see him with the alcohol swabs.
right.
I was just like,
What is
why?
that about?
Okay,
What did he drink?
All right, now two things. One is
it's alcohol. It's like
well,
alcohol.
for
it's
the-
hooch.
Yeah, there you
that
go.
he
It's
made.
hooch, gotcha.
Okay, so my issue, first of all, kind of is one with editing. Too much on flashback. It was like
It
so
was
much.
a lot of
I was
flashbacks.
like, okay, I get it.
Right.
His grandma was really proud. He couldn't get a job. How long is this going to be? So that, I mean, and I actually watched this show more than once. So the second time I was like, good God. All right, slow it down. We get what you're saying.
Right.
So to me.
Point made.
So, exactly. So that was more of an editor thing because I was like, come on, y'all. We don't need to see every moment when he got back in 2007 or whatever. So that was an issue I had. I did like the fact that they set up, because here's the issue to answer your thing about what he was drinking. In the flashbacks, they set up how he becomes an alcoholic.
Right.
So that's his problem, or that's his drug of choice. And so now, once he's behind bars, he's slipped. He was sober for a while when he was going to this thing with Common and the mosque or whatever, but now he's slipped. So even though he's portraying this nice, all-together prisoner, he's really, basically back on it. He's, back addicted. So that, now I kind of find his prison thing interesting. Like, I like what they're starting to do with it. Okay, and as a side note, just being from Chicago, I love the little things, because Skokie is totally a mostly white suburb on the north side. So I was like, yes, a white boy named Skokie. I'm loving it. So I love.
That's not too spot on for you?
I mean, it was corny, but if you don't know Skokie, it's like whatever. So it's fine. I'll let that one slide. But yeah, to me, I'm not really sure with the prison stuff. I don't know. I mean, I hate to say I want it to be grittier, but I do.
I do too.
Well, how
It
long
is
are they
kinda
even going to keep
squeaky
him in
clean.
there? Like how long can they keep this?
Well, okay, I have a couple of questions about that. But, okay, first of all, I'm like, if we remember from last season, like somebody bumped him or something in line, that's like the most issue he's had. Now he's like handing out mail and handing out meals and stuff, and he's like has a great job, and he's still not affiliated with any gang, right? Because that's the first thing they asked him when he came in was who you affiliated with, and he had to go stand in the back. Now he's just, I mean, there's a lot of racial issues. He's cool with the nerdy white boy. Like,
That's
it
what I'm
just
saying.
seemed,
Like, it's weird.
Nobody's bothering him. Nobody said anything to him.
I mean,
he gets to
But
just
he's
kind
doing
of run
pull-ups
the jail.
and workouts, looking all fit.
Right.
Like,
And then,
what?
and he's like a personal trainer in prison. I am confused. I am confused.
That's
I'm
exactly
like,
what
this
it is.
does
Yes.
not seem like any prison.
They're kind of like
Thank you.
glorifying it a little bit.
You
Just
know what it
I'm
reminds
like,
me of? Not to bring another show into the mix, but Orange is the New Black is very that way.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
would
squeaky
say,
clean
first
experience.
of all, I love me Orange
I
is the New
do
Black.
too.
And Orange is the New Black is harder than this prison. And I would say this reminds me of the prison first season in Empire, where they were like rapping and stuff in the
Oh
closet.
my goodness,
That's what this is. We are
no.
kicking it here in prison. We
Wow.
get
Right. This is my new home, and
Thank
I'm
you.
okay with it.
Thank you. And here's the thing: when we talk about Ethel, so at the end of the last season, originally Jada was supposed to be going to Seattle, and so Ethel. So when he goes to turn himself in, he calls 911 or the DCFS for old people. I forgot what you call it when older people are being endangered. And he's like, oh, there's a fire, blah blah blah. So I guess, I don't know, that didn't work out. So all of a sudden, Jada is back. And she's taking care of Ethel, and Ethel's like, "Well, I want to see him," and she, and she tells him, "Well, I don't think he wants to see you like that." And I'm like what? He's living the life, and he looks
Or
great.
at least it appears.
He looks very healthy. I mean, occasionally he's taking a drink, but I'm like, he actually looks together.
He does. He
more
looks
so
better
than in prison than he did outside.
Yeah, so
no
I was
question.
like, you could give her a ride up there, I'm thinking.
She does quite a bit for that lady.
She does. She probably doesn't want to go
Exactly.
either.
She probably don't want to be bothered with that. She got to sit in the car for 3 hours.
And then is she getting paid anymore or not? Is
No,
this-
no,
she
she
said
is.
she's getting
She
paid
is
from
getting
the
paid.
Oh,
the
yes,
check.
from his.
She's probably
Okay.
getting paid very well, actually.
You think so?
Decently. I mean, she's coming directly from her Social Security, so yeah.
That's true.
I mean, it's probably not, I mean.
It's enough to pay her rent.
I mean, it's probably not as much as, I would say, like a regular nurse, but I'm sure she's getting paid decently.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about Miss Ethel?
Okay, so like you said, during the flashbacks, they kept showing it. We were like, we get it. She was so proud of her grandson. I was just like, okay, yeah, like we get it. But question, do they ever talk about what happened to his mom? Or no?
Right.
Not yet.
Not
so
yet.
I
Okay.
think that accounts for why she's, praising him so much, because clearly I think she raised him.
I think so too.
Oh, yeah.
That's
No
definitely what I
question.
get.
Clearly, I don't recall, and if anyone knows in the comments, let us know, correct us on this. I don't recall any mention of what actually happened to his mother. So if anyone knows, let us know for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't recall either. But she's obviously very proud of him. That's kind of like her baby. But are we? I'm talking about all of it, right? So the end.
Oh,
Are we
we
gonna
jump
wait
into
for that? We're gonna wait for that.
We'll
Okay.
take that till the end, I think.
Well,
I do. I like Ethel. I like her because she's such an amazing hard ass. I'm not sure if there's something that's just a little off in the brain. You know what I mean? No, seriously. Because
Well-
she'll spew all this hatred and anger and, be
Well,
take no punches.
initially in season 1, I think that she does have actually some sort of dementia.
Yeah,
or
that's what
whatever.
I'm asking. And-
So initially in the first season, they didn't really talk about it too much, but in the beginning, it was the whole thing about that was the reason they were going to be able to put her into a home, because I think she does
because
have
she
some sort of
qualifies
dementia
for
and
that.
stuff. So she has moments where she's in,
Right,
and
she's
then
super
moments where
lucid.
she's out. So yeah.
There's like this lucid state that she's in where she's so compelled. She took her to get her nails done.
Right.
She's so sweet to her. You done found a new boyfriend? Well, you better do it. Then I'm going to be a grandma to you and I'm going to talk nice to you. And 2 seconds later, what the hell are you doing here? You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, wait a minute, crazy
Right.
lady. So yeah, she'll
Exactly.
turn on a dime real quickly. So
Exactly.
she
And I mean,
concerns me.
And to be honest, I mean, I have several friends and several family members as well who are dealing with parents who have either Alzheimer's or dementia, and that's very much how it goes. So sometimes
Yeah,
they're present and they're with you and it's great, and then other times they don't know who you are.
not so much.
They don't remember, or they're accusing you of stealing or whatever. Although I will say that at the end of season 1, and also in this episode, they've made her character, I guess, a little bit more lucid. I feel like they're bringing her character more to life.
Yeah.
So she's not as, she doesn't have dementia as often as she did before. I think she's doing a little bit of a better job, because sometimes also I think in this episode, even because sometimes I don't think she actually has forgotten. I think she's just messing with her. Sometimes.
Oh yes, no question.
So sometimes
she's
it's
manipulative.
sometimes she's just like, what? And then sometimes she's like, because you be stealing.
Yeah.
And I think that she's just, pretending sometimes.
I think she's just manipulative, as a lot of, no shade to older people. Don't hate me right now. I'm just saying, it's been my experience that when you get older, I think you feel like justified in whatever you do. It's almost like when I'm a kid, I can get away with whatever. And then once I get older, I can get away with whatever. Because I've already lived my life. I get to say what the hell I feel. You know what I mean? I don't owe anybody an explanation or an apology. And then they just go rogue. They're just like, listen, I've reached an age where it's whatever the hell I
Yeah,
say. And you have to deal
that's
with it.
true.
Right.
So,
Which-
and the dementia coupled with that, I'm sure it doesn't help.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think actually, I mean, if you manage to maintain and keep your home in a rough area on the south side for 30 years, then
I mean, did all the eviction notices?
Well, that's
Well,
because
yeah.
they've already sold her house out from under her.
Yes,
You know what I
sir.
mean? How is it even possible for the white lady to come to the door
that,
like, by the
that
way?
is a question, because maybe I guess she theoretically could have been renting for 30 years, so maybe she's renting. Because I think
good
what they
point.
said was the original owner sold the building.
That is very
and
true.
someone took it over. So so that's interesting, because maybe she thought she owned it and she
Right.
doesn't. So
Or
that-
maybe she's just digging her heels in because that's what she does.
Well, yeah,
and
no,
despite
absolutely.
the reality of them telling her, listen, you don't own this home anymore, you have to go.
Yeah.
She's just like, it's my house, I've been here,
Yeah, no,
getting
absolutely. I think
irate.
she's definitely digging her heels in.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be a challenge for Jada and Ronnie, I think, to face.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's move on to Kevin, Jake, and Big Papa. I love
I
these
love Papa.
kids. I
They're
love them.
hilarious.
They're so hilarious.
Yes.
They are.
You know, so we see Maisha, like the big girl. I love her character.
Yes, me too.
The actress that plays her, like, just does amazing things. And so it's interesting. I mean, I love the kids. Sometimes I do feel like clearly it's adults writing for kids. Like, you know, sometimes there's something about it that doesn't quite feel totally kid-like. But Big Papa is hands down my favorite. And what do you guys think about their whole, we're going to build a volcano? Like, I think it's like a fun part to kind of a really, you know, combative episode. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they finally made up.
Yeah, right.
Because the three of them together, like the Three Musketeers, you know?
Exactly.
And I love how Big Papa is the mediator in the group, and he's like, come on, guys,
The voice
get it together.
of reason.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. But I guess as far as the volcano goes, that wasn't the smartest idea since Maisha found out about it, and now she's going to blackmail them. So I'm interested to see where that goes. But I guess with Kevin, it's interesting because he's going to therapy, and you know the
You're right.
stigma with Black people in therapy.
Yeah.
So I like how they wrote that in
I
here.
do too.
And I'm
That is
interested
something
to
they
see
should-
like if he opens up. I'm sure he will, but when?
Right.
What will make him open up?
Yeah, and I like that they unfolded that because it is a topic that doesn't get a lot of attention because we are, as a people, we are really in denial about it. We just tell each other, go to church.
Oh
You
my
know
gosh,
what I mean?
yeah.
And
I
that's
agree.
like,
I
Lord
got
is amazing. Please believe it. But
Right.
he can't handle what's down here in our you know what I mean. He can
Yeah.
handle it.
He can handle it,
Right.
But sometimes
we
you just
can't
need
handle
someone to talk to face to
face,
face,
exactly.
and you know go through it.
and hash it out. So
Right,
I do like
exactly,
that and I love the fact that they made him like not jump into it. That wouldn't be his personality at all for him to be like,
Exactly.
oh yeah, and then like spilling his guts about the whole
Exactly.
thing.
I loved the fact, like, you know, one thing I do love is I love the relationship between Kevin and his sister Keisha. I think that
They are cute.
That they kind of, you know, they fight a little bit, but they definitely have a deeper bond there that always comes through, and they always kind of support each other.
Yeah.
So I love that. And his mom is like, she's so power to the people. I love his mother.
my gosh.
I think she's amazing. Now, the one issue I did have was kind of how they handled the therapy is for white people. Like, I get it that that's what they wanted us to know, and it's absolutely true. Our community doesn't do it. But he literally said that same line twice, and I was like, okay. And then, so that was a time where I was like, y'all hitting it too hard on the nose with that one. But it needed to be said, so I do like that. And then the other issue I had in the writing was when he's in the chair and he says, if I grow up.
Right.
And to me, that was a hard line. And
Yeah, that's
Well,
good.
you
Right now,
know
that's
what?
good
that
writing.
was good. But then the random therapist person, if you, like, we heard it, like, just let it
Yeah.
sit, let it marinate. We don't need you to repeat his line.
Well,
And
you
so
know, some
that-
people don't
case,
get
it could've-
it.
right, it could've
Yeah,
gone over
some
somebody's
people don't.
head.
Anybody
You're
watching
very
it.
smart.
No,
You're smart.
okay,
You
because
picked up
look,
on it.
Jacob Lattimore was live Instagramming or like posting people's Instagrams like while it was airing, and he even commented on it. He was like, if I grow up, did you guys hear that? We teaching lessons out here.
Right,
so they're kind of
exactly.
like, you know, trying to push it as
Right.
I guess to say
and I
like
agree, but
Yeah.
I think he nailed it.
Yeah, he
Just
did.
stop there. Okay. I mean, no, it was a great line, and I was like, dang, if
But
I grow
you're
up. And then
intuitive.
she's like, and I was like, first, okay, here's the thing. First and foremost, I think as a good therapist, she also should have let it marinate. You don't keep repeating what people like. No, just be quiet. Because he
Do you
will
watch
continue-
Dr.
But
Phil?
he's a
No, I'm just kidding.
child. No, but he's a child. I think it makes sense that she would take issue with the line that is very grown up. He's put in situations constantly where he has to be more mature than a child normally at his
Absolutely.
age.
Yeah.
So I think
Absolutely.
that the rest of us, you're very
Absolutely.
smart. You picked up on it, but there's lots of people
Absolutely.
that it probably went over their head. You know what I wanted to ask y'all about? And
What?
really, what do y'all think about Emmet and the fact that he is just literally
Oh, wait,
homeless
hold on.
right
Oh
now?
my
Get ready to
goodness.
get to
Oh, I'm
Emmett.
sorry,
So
because
let's make sure we're
the
done.
protein bars was too
Yes.
much. I'm
All right,
sorry.
hold on. Okay, so before we get to Emmett, because they're up next.
My bad.
Sorry. So, okay, the only thing I do have to say about this, I'm glad they're back together, but I do feel like Jake being there is temporary. Jake is on a different path, I think. So, I think... at
Who's
the end
back
of-
together?
the group, three
The three.
kids.
Oh, the three kids.
Like, I'm
yeah,
glad they're
yeah.
back friends, but Jake's alliance is with Reggie, I think.
You know,
Oh, no
I
question.
Feel is his
'Cause he
alliance is
scared him.
definitely with his brother, but at the same time, I feel like they're going to keep him in there for a while because if not, why did they even make them?
Broke up.
But why did they even bring him back? Like, you know what I mean? Why make them friends again?
Jake, they're going to be okay. Well, here's what I guess I'm going to say for predictions too. But I feel like just like in Boys in the Hood, just in a lot of these movies, there's that one bad person that's brought down by their family, and I don't see Jake being able to pull it out. I mean, and I love Jake. Like, I want him to, and Kevin wants him to, and Papa wants him to, but I think...
He's already made his choice. He's already decided made his choice a long time ago.
Because he doesn't have a parent, and
and
Reggie
his allegiance...
been there for him. Like, no matter what Reggie is doing, Reggie loves him, and Reggie has been there for him in ways that Kevin and Papa can't. So I'm not blaming him, but I sadly feel like it's going to go a darker way eventually. But what I do like about how they do them is the kids, like when they go to steal, because I mean, honestly, Jake is already having them steal stuff.
Yeah.
But it's only at the library, and it was totally cute, so I'm not hating on it. But I love like the music that they played when they're going down to steal from the library. Like, these are the kid gangsters.
Yeah, but he's definitely, his allegiance is to his brother. That's been established early on, and he's intimidated. He's afraid of him. You know what I mean? He definitely puts him on the spot.
Yeah.
He makes him.
But in his heart, and I think it'll probably eventually be challenged. He's like, I know he loves me. He won't kill me. He said that in the first season.
But that's all
I don't know.
he knows.
He might kill him. I don't know.
Say.
You wouldn't put it past him.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Exactly. We'll have to save some of that for predictions.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. So let's keep it moving. Okay, so Emmett. We'll do it with Emmett
The
and
homeless
his mom,
Okay.
Jada. Emmett and Jada.
Well, oh my
Love it.
goodness. I feel like Jada is being too harsh. I get it.
I do too. I'm a mom of a son. Come on.
Okay, well, I'll let you speak.
but
But,
go ahead.
so, okay, yes, he has 3 babies by 3 different baby mamas, doing the most. I understand. But okay, I'm not saying he shouldn't be taking care of him. 100% he should be responsible taking care of him, picking him up every other weekend as much as he can, whatever. But why does she have to kick him out? He literally got jumped on a bus. Like, he made an effort to go see the child afterwards. I mean, before, whatever. But it's just like, what can he do if he has psycho baby mamas?
No.
Okay, what do you think?
Thank you.
I
We
don't
can't
agree.
attribute it to the baby mamas. Being a baby mama of a son, I can tell you this. There are ways to make it right. There are ways to get around the psycho-ness. You see how she said no and kept slamming the door in his face? Then that's when he goes to, like he did, and goes to the authorities and tries to get custody. There are ways for you to implement yourself in your child's life, and I think he's taking the easy way out. Honestly, 3 baby mamas is pretty excessive. But I'm a little torn though. Kicking him out is a big move. I mean, if she. I just think she needs to give it some time. Like, kick him out for like a week and then...
No, here's my thing about the time. If you remember, because honestly, I watched it not that long ago, how the last season, to me, I feel like she's kicking him out because we saw him grow last season.
Yeah,
we saw him develop from a man boy to a more of a man little boy.
Little bit.
And he really was going for Emmett, his son, and he really was trying to take care of him. He really, once he saw Tiffany with an abusive situation, he was hustling the shoes. I mean, he was really making an effort. And there were some really close moments where she was like, I'm proud of you.
Right.
I'm proud of you. And then we start this season off with, he's back to nothing. So I agree with her in that, kick him out, because here he was and now she's like, okay, well, go to legal aid, and he's just laying up in bed.
Okay, that was very lazy.
To me,
Yeah, that was
to me,
lazy. That was just giving up.
He did go to the authorities. He called the social services on her because of the abusive thing.
That was last season.
Last season he did that. That's, to me, that's why I feel like she's doing it now, because she's like, I saw you grow and now you're backsliding, and I'm just going to sit here for nothing. Because remember, originally she was go to Seattle, and now she's back, and he's like
but I'm saying, if the authorities aren't going to do anything, what more can he do? He can't knock down the door and take the baby.
No, but he can keep trying, and he can be more consistent. When you get in the mood, when you get your butt up out that bed, like, if he's rescheduled 3 times, there's no excuse for that.
Right, he was supposed to.
I agree on that part.
You're not in school.
I definitely agree on that part.
You're not working.
But as
what
far
are you
as
doing?
I agree with that part, but the baby situation still, because I know someone who is trying to fight for custody for their child, and the mother is not.
Wait, time out. What are they going to their appointments with their attorney?
Exactly.
That's the thing. He's not fighting. He's talking. He's not doing
you go.
anything.
Yeah, he is
and
sleeping.
he's kind of blowing her off, and that's why she's like, okay, enough is enough, because I've helped you.
Yeah.
I've mothered you. I've coddled you, and now you think it's okay to backslide to where you were, and I'm just gonna sit here and not do anything.
What did she say? I'm tired.
Exactly.
And that's what it boils down
Exactly, because
you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, boy.
Exactly. Even after EJ last season was dropped off and not doing anything, she still, she was a little mean at first, and then she came around. Mm-hmm. And now I feel like, okay, she is giving him some tough love, and she's really struggling with it in her defense.
Exactly.
But, okay, so as a mother, though, would you just tell your son, like, find a place in 2 months and then just leave it? Or would you kind of, like, ease him into it? Let's go look at apartments.
But that's the thing.
But he said, he was like, I didn't think you were serious. She's been saying it for months.
That's not her job to tell him, now I'm serious. I'm the mother, and I've laid down the law. I've told you what needs to be done in order for you to continue to live. If you want to live with me, then these are the steps that you need to take.
Exactly.
And if you don't want to live here, then that's fine, but that's your choice to make. You can't get more grown than me and a daddy and supposedly paying your own bills. 3 times over, he's a daddy. 3 times over, and you can't get it together. You can't get out of bed.
And last season, as
as a mom, I would be. There would have to be some.
And
tough
the other
love
kids
there.
aren't even in Chicago, as he said. As we know, he's a digital daddy for the other 2. So that's okay. So to close it up, we end up with. We'll end up with. And there was a scene in between. Actually, we didn't mention where Brandon goes back to Reggie, and that's when we realized Reggie wasn't behind the robbery. Right. So it's kind of an interesting scene, because the only reason why I think the scene is really there is just to show that Reggie still is going to have some control and pull over Brandon.
No question.
Going down the line, which we all know and expect.
And so Emmett ended up where? At his father's house, right?
Right.
Yes,
So yes,
with his dad and all the other babies.
Right. So that was a really
He got it from his daddy.
clip.
No question.
Because clearly it's a generational thing.
Yeah. Most
So we're
definitely.
like, wow, okay. So that's kind of, so then the final ending is Ethel getting assaulted. Wow, that was a tough.
Was
that was
hard.
a tough.
That was really hard to watch.
It was.
That was really difficult
because
to
they
watch.
showed everything, and it was just so graphic.
So brutal.
Yeah, but you know what? I knew something was wrong when he said, he had his little picture on the clipboard, and he was like, I'm a veteran, please give us money. In that neighborhood, do they really go around doing that? Like, they'd be selling candy and Snickers. But I was like, something's off, because the homeowners already knocked once, and we're like, so I'm like, okay. Now my friend thinks they may have set it up. I'm like, that's a little harsh to get somebody out of the house. So I'm like, who did this? I think it may be someone Ronnie had bad blood with, and now they're coming in, maybe looking for some money, looking for some of their
They're definitely looking for something.
They're looking for something. So,
so maybe that is Ronnie's bad stuff that just kind of reared its ugly head. And
we'll see. I mean, and I think what would lead us to believe is the fact that the story, because they could have been Jehovah's Witnesses, but what they said was veterans. So clearly, I think they must know that Ronnie is a veteran.
And that's probably what allowed her to open the door.
That's what made her do it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, you guys. Before we're going to do our news and gossip section right quick.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, so our first article is about actually the actor that is playing Rolando Boyce is playing Emmett's father, and he's actually an original Chicago-based actor. So shout out to him. So he's back in Chicago doing his thing, and I think that is great. So shout out to him. And then our next item of news is a picture of the. Actually, the show's creator, Lena Waithe, with her favorite queen. She says, if the aliens came down to the world and said, show me my queen, I would say, here she go. So,
that's a great picture.
That is a great picture of Lena, and she's an amazing writer.
Posted up with B.
Yes,
Queen Bee.
With the Queen Bee. So shout out to her.
Yeah. Jacob Lattimore has an album coming out called Connection 2 at the end of the month. He's also going to be in an interactive series and also has a movie coming out on Netflix. So there's a lot of projects coming out.
Yay. Good job. Good job.
That's awesome.
All right, so for our special segment, we'll make it quick, is since I'm from Chicago, I love all things Chicago. So in the beginning montage, there was a clip from Harold's Chicken, which is my favorite chicken shack. And Harold's Chicken is now starting to go worldwide. So we have a Harold's Chicken Shack truck here in Los Angeles, and we also have a chicken shack owned by a Harold's owner called the Mild Sauce on La Cienega and Olympic. So check out for true Chicago. They play house music in there.
And it's
amazing.
delicious. I actually went, the mild sauce is what it's called.
Yes,
it's really
the mild
good.
sauces. So come check it out. Check out both of those. All right, you guys. So we're down to the wire. What are your predictions?
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
You want to go first?
Am I going first?
Mm-hmm.
I predict that something, unfortunately, is going to come between, how do you pronounce her name?
Jerrika?
Jerrika. I'm about to call her Geronimo. Lord, Jerrika and Brandon. I just think that something is brewing underneath the surface, and I don't think he's learned his lesson yet in terms of being brutally honest with her, because he knows that certain things just don't sit right with her. So he's kind of keeping, like the gun. Thank goodness he did the right thing with it, and prayerfully, he can get rid of it. But I just see something ugly under the surface that's going to, put them in a bad space.
Okay, my bad. We forgot to talk about the gun, that it was never tossed out, but that's another time.
Right.
Right, that's true.
I think he's going to have to use the gun pretty soon. I'm not sure for what, but I do think he's going to have to use the gun. As far as Emmett, I really hope he gets it together. I think it's going to take a few episodes for us to see that. And Kevin, Jake, and Papa, like you said, I think Jake is going to go down a slippery slope pretty soon.
Okay, so for me, my predictions is, first, we're going to have another old school gangster coming through to replace what Q's spot was from last season, because I don't see Q. And so I think we're going to have someone else come in and kind of be trying to ruffle things up on the drug lord side. 2, I think, Kevin and Jake. I've already said kind of what I think about Jake on that. 3, I believe that there's going to be an issue with the trial. I don't actually think Ronnie is going to stay in prison. I think they've given us way, way, way too much backstory to have him in prison for the next 3 seasons. So I think something's going to happen where either he's not going to get as much time, or there's going to be something that's going to come up that's going to mess up that conviction, and then that's going to cause riots in the streets. So those are our predictions. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Again, subscribe, leave your comments, and certainly leave comments after the live taping, because the live taping comments don't stay. And we love to have you. We can't wait to have you back next week. Same time, same place.
Yeah.
So I am your host, Erika Edwards. You can follow me on all of my social media at Erika, Erika, D as in door, Edwards.
And thank you for joining us again. My name is Lauren Hubbard, and you can find me on all social media at Lauren the Truth.
Awesome. My name is Kittie Kaboom. That's spelled IEKITTIEKABOOM. This was a lot of fun. I'm so glad I got to be a part of this.
So
you guys.
glad. This is our first time together. It was a blast, you guys. So thanks for coming.
There you go.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.